How about this one? Tish James. Anybody know her? The Attorney General of New York State. I don't think she's a real lawyer. I know she's a real dummy. She's the one who brought that ludicrous case trying to say that, Mar-a-Lago is worth 20 cents, right? And that nutjob Bozo the Clown judge, they got to go along with it. She, curiously, is supporting Jay Clayton, the U.S. attorney, former U.S. attorney for the Southern District under President Trump. Jay Clayton has been nominated, as you may know, for the Director of National Intelligence. And I don't understand why she would be supporting him. And part of me does. Look, he's a lawyer. I guess she's kind of a lawyer. The office probably cooperated with each other, right? The offices cooperate. I do find it a little bit bizarre, though, that she would come out for him publicly. It's a bit of a bombshell. Jay Clayton, I think, is a good guy, but some people are raising questions. Hey, if you got support like this, why do you have it? And what does it say about you? Now, I met Jay Clayton once. I just met him once. What the hell do I know? But President Trump, I believe, has confidence in him. I'd like to bring in one of our favorites, Joel Gilbert, the amazing investigative journalist and filmmaker and author. Letitia James endorses Trump's DNI nominee, Jay Clayton, and MAGA is demanding answers. Joel, welcome back. Why would Tish James endorse a guy like Jay Clayton?
I think it's two things. Number one, like most Democrats, they have this bizarre fear of Bill Pulte. They think that he's a Trump supporter and will do anything to support Trump. So they've got a genuine fear of Pulte. Secondly, I think Jay Clayton is a kind of New York insider. He's been working in the New York system for many years. Letitia's probably ran into him and is familiar with him. So she's given her stamp of endorsement, and I made the case that that's a problem. We need to ask a lot of questions why Letitia James is comfortable with this guy.
Okay, and that is kind of a. Now I do hear he's got some support from Democrats in Congress and the Senate. There are I think Mark Warner, perhaps. There are lawyers. These lawyers do deals with each other over the years. I mean, does this possibly, for a split second, just harken back to a moment where there was a vague sense of bipartisanship, and if you maybe disagreed with somebody on the issues, at least if, you knew they were qualified, you'd vote for them. Republicans and Democrats did that not too long ago, and now that's not the case anymore. Is it a nod back in that direction?
No, I don't think so. I think it's too partisan now. I think there were serious questions about Todd Blanche that are still hanging around because he was a Democrat New York City attorney for many years. And you've got this guy who's entrenched in the business world in New York for many, many years. So he's kind of an institution guy. He's been involved in these corporate mergers and all these SEC rules and global offerings and equity. So there's a real question, is this guy just going to protect the institutions that he came from, or is it going to be someone like Tulsi Gabbard who came out and went after the Trump agenda? She reduced the size of the bureaucracy. She declassified records and JFK stuff. She revealed what happened with the biolabs in Ukraine with Fauci. I mean, here's someone that went after the institutions, whereas Jay Clayton clearly is a product of the institutions. And I think that's what Letitia James liked about him, is that, hey, he's one of us.
It's interesting. Very interesting. Listen, you and I and a lot of our viewers have been very much concerned about Bill Stevenson, the ex-husband of Jill Biden. And it's just a maddening situation, charged with murder. No documents are available. I still can't get over something I found out actually last night. Jill Biden has written 2 books. I knew that, but I went back, and there are massive discrepancies in how she met Joe Biden in each book. In each book, she gives Joe Biden a different age for when they met. One says 32, the other says 31, and then elsewhere in the book, I think it says 30. Now, Joe was definitely married. I'm sorry, she was definitely married to Bill Stevenson when Joe was 31. And it just harkens back to, if you if you tell the truth, you never have to remember what you say. But there are lots of different versions because this is Bill Stevenson is right across the board about the Bidens.
Yeah, look, we've got a lot of concerns from your viewers because you had him on your show. He was such an honest guy and put forth a story that very much contradicted the very origin story of the Biden relationship. And there's concern that there might be some animosity toward him by the Bidens, by the corporation, which is the state of Delaware today. And I've been doing a little bit of research, and we just can't get any information from the state of Delaware about the case. We just found out there are actually 2 autopsies of his wife. They did an autopsy, and they found there's nothing wrong here. There's no foul play. They can't figure out exactly why she died, but there's no case for murder or anything. And they ordered a second autopsy, and somehow based on that, it looks like he was charged with murder. So we want to know who ordered a second autopsy, who performed it, and what did they find? So right now we have no information, and the concern is he getting railroaded because of the Biden story?
And how odd in your experience is it that a 78-year-old man, Bill Stevenson, who's in jail right now, not convicted of a crime, $2 million bail, $2 million. Now, Carmelo Anthony put a knife in a man's chest, and we all knew it. We all knew it, and he went home on house arrest, and I think the bail was $500,000, $400,000, and we got a serial rapist. You may have seen in the newspaper, alleged serial rapist, a lawyer from New Jersey who was living up in Boston. He's out on bail, $500,000. That is a ludicrously high number in a matter like this, isn't it?
Yeah, it's astounding because I found out his bail started at $500,000, and somehow the prosecution came in and said, "Oh, we want to bring it up to $2 million," and the judge agreed for a guy who's 78 years old and isn't going anywhere. They probably should have just sent him home on a ankle bracelet, for example, would have been the fair thing to do, because his trial is not until January of 2027. So he's got to rot in jail for another, 6 months. It seems very unfair. There's a lot of pieces of this puzzle that are making people uncomfortable. It's starting to feel like a January 6th case because everything is going against the defendant, and we have no evidence of any crime whatsoever.
All right, and you have been seeking documents, and the documents they are not forthcoming, and it looks to me like they're trying to get out of it any way they can. The littlest of technicalities, or just being generally non-cooperative. I mean, there's a 911 call. I know when celebrities get in trouble, I hear the 911 call on TMZ. 3 hours later. This is now 6 months later. No 911 call. It's kind of important.
Well, I put in a FOIA request, 2 FOIA requests, one for records and one for communications. I got denied because I'm not a Delaware resident. I got a buddy of mine in Delaware to put the same FOIAs in. He got rejected saying, it's under investigation, which kind of doesn't make sense because he's already been charged. So you're right. There's no reason we can't have the body cams, the 911 call, and see what actually happened. At least something. Get the autopsy reports is what I really want to see. So we're just starting to see that everywhere you look, it seems like the system is against this guy, and we want to make sure he gets a fair trial.
Yeah, we sure do. Hey, do me a favor. Can you update us on Roseanne Barr, the great comedian who they tried to cancel, and I'm glad that she kind of came roaring back, in part thanks to you, an amazing film you did about Roseanne Barr, unfairly canceled, but I see her making noise in a good way. She seems to be having a good time. How is Roseanne Barr doing?
Well, she's doing great. Her film is out. You can see the trailer, RoseanneIsAmerica.com, and that'll link you up where you can watch the movie. It's just everywhere. And she's doing her podcast. She loves doing it. She does it about once or twice a week. She interviews all kind of people. And as you said, she was...
Uh-oh. Is that me or is that you? Carlos, do you hear me? Oh, shoot. Let's get him back on the phone if we can. But I got to meet Roseanne Barr. And, to be honest, when she was on the Roseanne Barr show, I wasn't the biggest fan. I'm sorry, is he back?
I'm back.
Oh, hey, we lost you there for a second. I was just talking about how I actually became a fan of Roseanne and really looking at her work after after she got canceled, not before. I didn't like the TV show. I didn't like that national anthem thing, although I'm told that was kind of they sabotaged her. But tell us more. We can see the movie through you.
Yeah, you go to RoseanneIsAmerica.com. She was the first big victim of cancel culture, and the reason she was 2018 is because she was a Trump supporter both in real life and on TV. And at the time, they were trying to say that all Trump supporters are racist. That was the thing the media was pushing back in 2018. And she put out a very funny tweet about the Iran deal and Valerie Jarrett, and they said, "Oh, did you know Valerie was 10% black?" And she said, "No, I thought she was from Iran because she was born in Iran." And they said, "Oh, well, it was racist." And they canceled her show within like 20 minutes, and they kicked her out of Hollywood. So she really got to be the first victim of this cancel culture. And I think my movie tells the whole story about how she persevered and came back. And now she's this kind of big podcast celebrity, interviewing so many people with so many interesting stories of their own. And we have this great movie out, Roseanne Barr is America.
Hey, what about, I'm on her side here, and I have a theory, but I thought, didn't she say something about Planet of the Apes? Isn't that what got her in trouble?
Yeah, here was the story. She put out a tweet. She said, if the Planet of the Apes movie, if the Muslim Brotherhood and the Planet of the Apes movie had a baby, it would be Valerie Jarrett. She was trying to make fun of the fact that in the Planet of the Apes movie, it's about taking over the world. And the Muslim Brotherhood wants to take over the world. So it was kind of a funny tweet. You'd have to kind of understand politics to get the joke. She thought Valerie Jarrett was from Iran, which everybody thought because she's from Iran. She was born there. And even Valerie Jarrett had her book out a couple of years ago, and she went around saying, most people don't know I'm black. I got beat up in school by black kids because they thought I was white. So based on that misunderstanding, they said, well, let's just cancel Roseanne. And it was only because she was a Trump supporter, nothing else.
That's interesting. I thought it was a big misunderstanding because, I love the Planet of the Apes. In fact, it's my favorite movie. And I thought she was getting at, she actually looks like one of the humans in Planet of the Apes. Like everybody says, oh, it's racist. They're comparing her to an ape. No. She actually does look like some of the humans. Not the astronauts, not Taylor, not those guys, but the humans, Nova and Nova's friends. But anyway, we'll give her our best, and we'll go to your website, Highway 61ENT, highway61ent.com, ENT for entertainment. And all over social media. Before we go, do me a favor, JD Vance on accountability. Carlos, JD Vance with Maria Bartiromo on accountability, and will we ever get it for Obama's high crimes and misdemeanors and a lot of other people? Go ahead.
You've got to have the law follow the facts here. You don't just indict people to indict people. You indict people because they broke the law. But if you look at what Tulsi and Kash Patel have revealed in the last couple of weeks, I don't know how anybody can look at that and say that there wasn't aggressive violations of the law. What they basically did is they defrauded the American people in order to take Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign talking points and turn them into intelligence by defrauding the American people, defrauding the intelligence agencies, lying about what the intel said. They would take something that supported a Hillary Clinton campaign talking point, and they would overemphasize it and exaggerate it. They took anything that actually contradicted that narrative and they buried it deep. And through that, they actually laundered Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign talking points through the American intelligence services. That's a violation of the people's trust. That's a violation of what our intelligence services should be doing, and I absolutely think they broke the law, and you're going to see a lot of people get indicted for that. Here's the thing that should really bother the American people. What do you want our intelligence community to be doing? I want them to be catching bad guys. I want them to be making sure that terrorists aren't going to kill innocent American civilians. I don't want them laundering Hillary Clinton's campaign talking points into the American media and giving them this air of legitimacy. It is sick. And it's disgusting. It hurt the intelligence community, it hurt the American people, and it hurt the first Trump administration. We've got to have consequences for it, or we're just going to see the same play repeated again and after again.
Wow. I love that guy. But look, we're a year and a half in. He says there are going to be indictments. I feel like the whole apparatus, the whole swamp is working against those who want accountability. And I'm just not confident we're going to get it. What do you think, Joel?
I'm with you on that. I'm not confident. Trump started not with an attorney general that was going to kick butt. He started with Pam Bondi, who was the attorney general in Florida that kind of kicked off Black Lives Matter during the Zimmerman case. She was not a tough character. Todd Blanche is now, looks like, going to be the next AG. A lot of questions about him being a former Democrat and New York City attorney. We're a year and a half in. I pretty much understood that Tulsi Gabbard had a lot of resistance when she was DNI, Director of National Intelligence, from the other agencies and getting this stuff out there. So I'm with you. I don't think too much is going to happen. Unfortunately, Trump did campaign on draining the swamp the second time. He did that and got elected on that, but he really hasn't gotten it done so far. He did appoint Bill Pulte, who everyone's afraid of, back to the original conversation about Letitia James. He did put Bill Pulte in there at the Director of National Intelligence. So maybe some things will happen. Let's stay tuned. Let's not give up. Let's see what Pulte can accomplish.
All right, sounds good. And President Trump, I believe he did his part. He survived, thrived, and got reelected and elected again. And I feel like other people have to step up to this moment.